Another thing I notice on a lot of guys' setups when they're just starting out, I don't think they really put a lot of thought into where their beater head is on their pedal. And that affects a lot of things. It affects how your foot moves, it affects where it hits on the head, and all sorts of different things. So there's a sweet spot on a drum head. It's actually slightly off center. This pedal right now, this beater, it's just a little too high. If you can see the angle, it's a feel thing to me, but it's also, I can see it. So we're just gonna drop that guy down just a little bit. That feels a lot better, but let's make sure. Also, let's lock down our kick so it's not moving. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we're gonna move it up just a little bit. We're talking millimeters at this point. There you go. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so this is another tool that I highly recommend. Get a kick pad. This one's cool. An Aquarian one is cool. Evans makes them. They're all great. And we're going to apply that to our bass drum head to keep it safe and to get some more life out of it. So you got your pad. You know, this is self-explanatory, but you can mess it up, just like anything. Kind of see where it is. Where is it going to hit? And then put that bad boy on there. Dead center. Yeah, I mean that's perfect. It's a perfect sweet spot. It's just a little bit higher than it's supposed to be. You guys might think I'm crazy, but like this, it's so important for your pedal, for your playing, for your ergonomics, for the sound out of the kick. I mean, it's just, you want to get that height right, and that's, I mean, you're gonna feel it. Another big thing for your kick drum sound, these beaters. A lot of these beaters, you have the soft side, you have the hard side. I would recommend turning it around to the hard side. Some of these beaters don't feel that good. This one's okay. But that's already, it's just getting you that click. That kind of, you're gonna hear that in a recording more, you're gonna hear that up front a lot more. And with the flam pad or whatever pad you got on there, it's not gonna be any dangerous to your head. It's just gonna sound a little more attack, you know, but that's a personal thing. We're gonna set up the snare. Basically, we're just gonna bring it up from how wrinkly it was. And all snare heads are gonna be different, but gonna get it pretty tight, say upper medium tightness. Not cranked, not yet. You don't wanna crank the heads down on day one that you're putting them on. This is another thing that when you're tuning drums, nobody really talks about this, but they're going to sound good when you put the heads on the first day. But when you come back the second day, that's when you really do your fine tuning and you kind of iron out everything, because the heads are new, they're going to stretch, and they just, you know, it's going to take a little time for them to really rake in, you know. All right, so we're getting pretty, it's getting there. Woo. Oh yeah. I'm just kind of going around the head, just listening for really just like the right frequencies. It's kind of hard to explain, but I know exactly what point I want to get it to. And it's also a feel too. You can kind of feel when it's bouncing properly, you know. And then it'll start to crack. And once it starts to crack and it's tight, that's when you really just back off and do little fine tunes. Like we're getting there. So now I'm just doing maybe half a turn. And notice I'm going in a star pattern, one lug across from the other at this stage. And I'm going around in a clockwise pattern. It doesn't matter, you can go either way. Woo! Yeah. That's getting there. Oh, there it is. That's it right there. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Orleans, and you know, gotta give it up. All right, yeah.
Rolling.
Okay, so for the toms, a few different ways you can do it. You can have the bottom head lower than the top. You can have it higher than the top, or you can have it the same tension as the top. With these entry-level kits, or you know, a Vision or an Export or whatever, I found the best for me, and what I like to hear is when the heads are the same tone. So let's check out what the bottom's doing. Wow, I don't know if you can hear that on the camera, but it sounds like Dr. Seuss. It sounds really weird. Okay, so when you're hearing weird stuff like that, I would just say 99% of the time, you want to tune it down. Tune it down, and then get it back up. And again, guys, I wish I could give you my years of just hearing what I want to hear, but you're just going to kind of develop that. You know, this is just stuff you're going to hear. So you'll probably be able to hear that that's a little too low for this drum. Also, drums, they tend to resonate at a certain pitch that's best for that drum. And toms specifically, you don't really want to get them out of their zone. I mean, this tom is a 12-inch by, I think it's 12 by 9 tom. And it's in a range that it wants to be at. It's getting there. I'm not going to blame the heads, but these heads are a little fucked. They're not fucked, they're just not as forgiving as an Ambassador. You know what I mean? I can talk about that, maybe. I'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, we're tuning these toms, and I'll show you a couple ways to do it. These specific, this size, and you know, Export toms, and a lot of these kind of kits, they just tend to sound the best when they're both the same pitch, the bottom head and the top head. So we're going to try to get them as close together as possible. You know, and these stock heads, you're kind of fighting a unfair battle with your toms if you have these on. They don't sound horrible, but they're not as forgiving and as sweetening of the sound as, say, an Ambassador is, or a you know, Evans, you know, whatever, Aquarian, whatever, you know, those clearing. So anyways, we'll try it. They just tend to give those kind of quarky tones and like barking noises more easily, like so. Like you hear that? It's kind of like, it's like a brow, brow. You know, it's just kind of nasty. So one way that you can fight that is just detuning them a little bit. And see if you can kind of back that edge off. Now, it might sound a little weird from here, but when you put the top rather, you're not going to really hear it on the back. You just hear a good tone from the front. So we're really wet right now. It's very loose. So we're going to tune it up a little bit. Yeah, these are really loose. Because remember, we backed it off after we stretched it out, and now we're kind of bringing the tension back. That's a lot closer. I'll show you a little trick. This is like old school, but it works so good. It's called funky tuning. And funky tuning is you get it close. You get everything, you know, same tension, and that still sounds a little low, so we're going to tweak it up just a little bit. See how it sounds. Okay, now we're going to funkify it. Funky tuning, you just back off maybe a half a turn on that lug, and maybe another one just a little bit. And it just sweetens it up. So nice, you know? There's still some overtones. There's some kind of like growling going on, but that's okay, because here's what we're going to do to fix that. Okay, so Moongel is not paying me to say this, but their product is awesome. So if you guys can buy this stuff, it's like $5, and it's like much better than tape. So it sounds pretty sweet, but it can sound a lot better. So we're going to take this stuff, as wash your hands so you don't get it dirty. I'm kind of joking, but I'm not really, because this stuff, it's better when it's clean and it's sticky. Here's the other thing that a lot of guys I think they make the mistake of, you don't need to use the whole thing. I tend to rip them in half, do that pretty easily. That was kind of gnarly. And then take about that much, you know, maybe a quarter of it. Just put it on that tom. Yeah, and it's just kind of fatter, you know. So nice and fat. Yeah, it's cool.